So here we are, welcome. I'm Michael Wade, Professor of Innovation and Strategy at IMD, and I'm here with a very familiar face sitting across from me to discuss digital transformation at Nespresso. So Cyril, you've been in the role now for 9 years. You've seen massive changes. What are some of the big successes that you've had over these 9 years, would you say, in the transformation journey of e-commerce within Nespresso?
First of all, the first insight I learned during this journey is this digital transformation is not about digital, it's not about technology, it's about your customer. And that's usually a mistake that most corporations are doing, is believing that a digital transformation has to end up into an IT project. And I think that's the best recipe for failure. I strongly recommend for any corporation really to focus on the customer and its journey. And what is really important, whatever you do, is to focus on the experiences you will deliver along this journey and to make it as great and as relevant for the customer as possible.
And why do you think the customer sometimes gets left out?
The customer actually don't think between digital and offline. The customer navigate between online and offline very naturally, between all of your different channels. And during this experience, they're not having an Nespresso digital experience or an Nespresso boutique experience, they're having an Nespresso experience. So for them, they're just having an Nespresso experience, they have a single view of your brand. The challenge for brand is to get a single view of the customer and to deliver a seamless and consistent experiences along this journey. And one of our best efforts at Nespresso is really to make sure, as much as we can, to deliver this experience, to make it relevant to the context of the customer, because the dimension of the context also is super important.
So you want the customer to have a consistent experience because they're jumping online and offline. But in the background, you probably have different groups managing boutiques, different groups managing contact centers, different group managing, your group managing e-commerce. How do you manage all that complexity behind the scenes that the customer doesn't see?
First of all, we have an internal system, an information system that enables us to deliver these consistent and relevant experiences. What we can do, we can personalize offer, promotions, or just content, whatever the touch points, thanks to this system. So we can, if we know you, we recognize you. We can propose a personalized experience to you, and if you call the customer relationship center or you go in the boutique and recognize you, we will pass you the same message. So we are able to deliver this consistency. The second dimension that is super important is also how you organize your people and you incentivize your people. If you want to be a customer-centric organization, it has to work. You have to walk the talk up to the incentive to your people. Let's take an example. You're a boutique manager, so your job is to deliver the best experience in your boutique. But your customer is coming in your boutique and sometimes would like to go online. But if you think in silos, as a boutique manager, you will make sure these people doesn't go online. They have to stay within your boutique. So what we did at Nespresso, we changed a little bit incentives. Also, we've been offering to our employees to look at catchment area. And the boutique manager is no longer incentivized on the boutique, only on the boutique turnover, but also on the catchment area turnover, making possible the creation of these omni-channel experiences.
Well, that's certainly consistent with our views that transformation requires change across the value chain. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in these 9 years to build the e-commerce business within Nespresso?
During this 9 years, I had to create and manage some tensions along this journey that were on several dimensions. The first one was on one side, to transform, to prepare, to protect the future, to make sure we are in a good business in the years after, and at the same time deliver the short-term objectives. So by objective, I mean two things: delivering the performance, the sales, but also the customer satisfaction. So there is one dimension, transforming, and in parallel, delivering. Then also you have the transformation that is touching people. What we did during these years, we hired a lot of new talent, digitally savvy people that I call the Barbarians. It's a community within Nespresso that are there to help us accelerate this transformation worldwide, and we build the capabilities. And now we have more than 200 people dedicated to running e-commerce in the market, in more than 40 markets worldwide. And these people are our eyes and ears in the market to let us know what's is needed in the context of the customer in their markets, and that's creating also a lot of tension with a global versus local, because locally these people want things now. Things happening now in Japan, in Korea. You're living in Switzerland, and you have to manage the complexity of the world. So this is creating a healthy tension, but we have to manage. That is super interesting. Then you have also to manage the tension between the people that are well equipped to protect the future and the one that made the success of the company that are currently in charge. So it's what I call the opposition between the barbarians, people like us, and the corporate people that made the success, that are there, that own the past of the company. And it's not a question of opposing these people, it's about making them work together. And that's the biggest challenge we have to understand. How do we understand each other? And we have a common objective, it's a now. If I understand maybe better than them the future, on the now we can touch base, because it's not about saying the past is to be removed from the picture, not at all. We need to build on the past and on success on Nespresso to add other layers. And this, we have a chance in digital, is we speak a language that they speak all, or the corporate leaders. We speak data. We are all living in data. And thanks to the data, we have a common language that we can embark everybody on this journey of transformation. So what I learned also, it's the opposition also between scalability and agility. So how do we build agility and at the same time scale? So when you moved from a business that is doing several millions to several billions, you need to scale. You need to have processes to support this growth and to be in business year after year, year after year. But at the same time, your ever-connected customer is changing all the time and have expectations that are moving. So how do you adapt to this new context? So in order to do so, you need to work on, in my views, on two dimensions. The first one is on your operating model. How do you make sure that your information system is open and connectable? What we need to implement at Nespresso is an API strategy that enables us to connect and play as a Lego and bring new services, test and learn, and keep what is meaningful for the customer. And what is at stake is not playing with technologies, is building relevant experiences for the customer. And in parallel is to have the people. And it's all about people. And this journey of transformation, if I have one thing to say, it starts with people that you need to bring in the company to build upon the successful project and mini success you had in the company before. So it's about creating and managing tension. So delivering and transforming, barbarians and corporates. It's about global and local. It's about scalability and agility. Sometimes we tend to see this as or, and what I learned along this journey is not or, it's and.
Mm-hmm. And going forward, as you look forward into the future, what do you see as the best opportunities and the biggest challenges?
The best opportunity will come in automation. Digital is going to continue to simplify the life of the customer, and it's how we will be successful. We leverage digital evolution to make life of our customers simpler, easier, more relevant to their context. So we could think that with AI, with data, with automation, we will be in a position to simplify, to predict better what they want, to support them better. Also, there are a lot of support that are very basic that could be potentially outsourced through artificial intelligence when they reach the level they need to be. So that's the direction we are looking at the moment. But I take this more as a compass for me, and not as this is where we need to do now, because now it would be a mistake to jump on this solution in the execution, because you're better with the customer relationship center, you're better with data scientists. All these people are super, super important to deliver the business now and for the years to come. So you need to look at this as direction, and then with an open and connected system, you are able to test, learn, and gradually move in that directions.
Sure. And threats, what do you see as some threats in the future?
But like many organizations, we can get disrupted. Here, at this stage, is the speed on the execution. It's execution where I see as the biggest threat for us. Not being able to adapt to a changing context that is going faster than ever. Is not being able to bridge together business and IT people together to deliver this agility on the long term. This will be a big threat for us. They are more internal than external at this stage. Of course, we can imagine plenty of other external, but it's not the ability to adapt and constantly adapt in a sustainable way. And it's one of the strengths of, we are talking about, of Amazon, that managed to create an operating model, this by definition, or that is creating innovation in itself. And the most innovative part of Amazon is not the one that we see, is the one they put behind, that is behind the scene, that is enabling the possibility to test, learn new solutions, new add-ons they bring each time and on a regular basis to the markets.
So it sounds like what you're saying is really the most important is to get the right operating model, the right mindset, the right culture, and perhaps most importantly, the right people.
Yes, exactly.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
It was super interesting.
Thank you.